How is Youth East helping to build partnership working in the county of Norfolk? We're building partnerships. We are building on partnerships that we began to develop in Youth East 1, because colleges can't do it all themselves, can't put all the provision on themselves. We need to get out there and work with local organisations, and that's what we have successfully done, and the number of partnerships we have is growing by constantly going out and meeting them where they're at. And I think proof of that is an example of working with the YMCA hostel, where they have come to us and asked us to put on some provision, but not the students coming to us, but us going to the hostel accommodation. And after Christmas, we're starting an ECDL, which is a computer course with them. What is different about Youth East provision is that it, compared to many other projects, many other courses, it offers reasonably short-term intervention provision as a way of encouraging the young person back into the learning journey, or indeed to start their learning journey. And so we have qualifications that the young person can achieve after a month, after 6 weeks, which for some of them will be the first qualification they've achieved for a number of years, and sometimes actually ever. And it's important to make sure that those qualifications are therefore doable, achievable by the young person, and that's usually by something practical. So the practical is the hook, and an example of that is a bike recycling project where the young people are building their own bikes, but actually there's a qualification that's attached to that, and they are achieving it almost without realising they're achieving it. And once they've actually got that first step, it builds the self-esteem, it builds the confidence, and you're away. And that's lovely to see when a young person has re-engaged. And the other thing that's important is to think about progression, because if we don't think about that, then we could be selling these young people a false promise. We're selling them a promise of something which actually we're not going to be able to fulfil for them. So before we put on any provision, we make sure there is a progression for that to either education or training, but that it leads to something, because otherwise these young people just go round and round, moving from one thing to another and never actually achieving and progressing. A unique selling point of Youth East, well, I'll sneak in two if I can. The first one is that the flexibility of provision, because we work with partnerships, it means that we're constantly growing those partnerships, so therefore we can put on provision as demanded by either our local strategic groups, where they have said there is a particular high level of needs in a particular area. We can respond and put on provision, and we can put on provision as demanded by the young people, which could have come through other agencies. And an example of that is working with the local football team. As you may know, Norwich City were promoted last season, so football is sort of again big on the agenda, and we've got some provision working with the local football club. Another unique selling point is the whole concept of mentoring and the importance of being a constant in these young people's lives, because many of them have no structure, live a very fragmented life, and you are the absolute rock solid person there who's providing the discipline, but also providing the praise. And if you don't do the discipline, then the praise is often somehow not very genuine. So I think you need both to provide that structure. So I'd say those are the two unique selling points. How Youth East has benefited partner organisations, we've helped to cement those partnerships by actually, again, fulfilling our promise to the partners by delivering a mentoring qualification. So they've been able to gain a qualification through the project. Well, actually it's another project, but it's our partners who've been able to benefit, which means that they've had the underpinning theory to support the practical of mentoring the students, because it's absolutely key to turning around these young people's lives.